All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of the Good Life Small Business Podcast. My name is Brian Blakely, and I am pleased to be joined by the owners of Groom Services here in Omaha, Danielle, Nelson, and Danielle. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us. Yep.
So let's get to know you guys a little bit. Tell us what books that you are reading or listening to right now. Danielle, we'll start with you.
Let's see. The book called The Gene, The History of Genetics. And what other book am I reading currently? A book I've gone back to is Start With Why.
Great book.
Current books I'm currently reading. Podcasts? Wow. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah?
I don't even watch TV, so...
Tell me your favorite.
Joe Rogan's always in
Yeah.
rotation. There's a financial podcast called Earn Your Leisure, The Monday Market, a ton of podcasts.
Yeah.
A ton, yeah. And then Colin Cowherd's sports podcast called The Volume.
Yep.
Yeah, those are pretty much my go-to right now.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So for me, podcast is essentially the same. I don't listen to podcasts as much as Donald, but Joe Rogan, Colin Cowherd, Sports Fanatics, right? So,
Yeah.
that's what I listen to mostly. But right now, most of my listening, I like listening to ebooks or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You know, rather than actual reading. Half the time I don't have the time anyways.
Yeah.
But the book that I've been listening to is The Body Keeps the Score, probably from, the stress of running a business. So it's just a book that talks about how our body, we need to take care of ourselves because, our body, it calculates and adds up how much stress on our body, if we're not taking care of ourselves. So I'm trying to be more mindful of that and making sure that I'm, taking care of me so I can continue running, having energy, and then continue to give that energy to the business and
I'll have to
other
look that
things.
one up.
Yeah, it's really good. Yep.
Cool. Very good. Danielle?
So this is going to be my fifth child, so I don't do a lot of anything. However, I actually have been revisiting like the Book of Proverbs, the wisdom,
very good,
in my Bible a lot more. But outside of that, I've been listening to something my brother introduced me to years ago, which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it came with the audio.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times it just kind of brings back me back to the zone of excellence and trying to achieve that.
Yeah.
And so that's something I've been listening to. Earn Your Leisure is one I like a lot as well. Kind of popular right now, I think.
That's podcast.
Yes, podcast.
Yep.
Right.
But outside of that, it's a lot of kiddie songs and so
Don't talk about Bruno type stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had to watch that again the other night.
Of course, about 190 times a week, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's just get into the story of your business. I found you guys on Instagram, and I was really intrigued just about the type of business that you have because you're mobile right now.
Yeah.
And so just kind of how it came to be, how you envision this, start back as far as you want to. You guys can just kind of take it and tell us about it.
Well, we come from a lineage of hair professionals. So, 3 generations?
Okay.
So our grandfather and a ton of his siblings started in the industry, and now I believe there's at least, I think we did a head count once, but there's at least like 40 professionals just here in Nebraska
in hair
industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so taking that background, and this is literally my 20th year barbering.
Nice.
I've always wanted to add more to the industry and do more.
Yeah.
And Nelson, his background is logistics, and in a weird way, we kind of had somewhat of the same ideas that overlapped.
Yeah.
And that was 2016, 17?
Okay, so that was 2017. 2016, 2017.
Okay.
So the catalyst for me was, so like you said, we grew up with, our family in hair care. So for me, I never experienced having to go find a barber, pay, having trouble getting in.
Pay.
You're spoiled.
Yeah, exactly. I was spoiled. It was like, oh man, I'm golden. And then I moved away for work to a different state a few times. I relocated out of state, and that was my first experience of, oh man, I gotta find a barber, and once I actually find one that I actually like, how do I get in? Because I had a professional job and needed to maintain a look.
Sure.
And so that was tedious for me. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is nuts. And so I just, there's little nuances that I noticed. Like I said, we grew up in the barbershop with our grandfather. So when I returned, me and my brother were just kind of talking about some of those issues. And I was like, man, there's just got to be a better way to do this and more convenient. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how Groom was birthed. Like, it was born out of, like I said, our experiences, marrying our rich family tradition. And then for me, I was like, hey, my professional career is transportation. So I was like, married the two, and then Groom was born.
Yep. Got it.
Yep.
So did you think about going to a brick and mortar first? Like we were talking before we record, you guys have a brick and mortar that you're getting ready to move into, hopefully in the summer.
Yep.
But right now you've just got the mobile unit. So did you look at doing a brick and mortar first, or were you thinking, hey, let's do something mobile where we can get to other people?
Mobile.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Yeah, and I know there were times where we thought of, hey, or at least Dan on his own, where he's like, hey, I'm gonna have my own barbershop and different things of the sorts like that. But for us, like I said, we wanted to try and make a difference in the industry. If you look at barbering or hair care in general, it's one of the oldest professions, and it's been done the same way since its inception. Honestly,
yeah.
So for us, we wanted to try and create something new and bring it up to date, with the times.
Sure.
And that's something that we're constantly doing. This isn't the finished point. We have other visions that we want to take it to and get it there as well.
Got it.
And one of the biggest things too about being mobile was, growing up in the tradition of barbering and how it operates. That part's relatively easy, but really, it was looking at the landscape where you have people who want more, and most times my experience was people just didn't know it existed.
Okay.
So it was more a thing of people, in my mind, settling for your chains or settling for great clips or whoever it may be, and just not understanding that there are better options.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And so it was like, well, why not be mobile and show people and introduce them to something better?
Right.
And so a lot of times I think in any industry, a lot of people, what's accessible, they'll take it.
Yep.
But once they become aware of new information that something might be better, then you start to realize like, oh, I really do want this.
Yeah.
Whether they know it or not.
Right.
A lot of times you don't know.
Correct.
Yeah. Is this, where you are mobile, is this unique across the country? Like, are there, in different cities or different places, across the country, is this a little bit more common?
Yeah, it's more common based on where it's being done. So
a lot of
some of the
metropolitan,
and a lot of your warm weather places like Florida and California, it's pretty common. But then on top of that, we have a unique situation where we found a way in which it's not being done, which would be us adding the professional element to it,
right.
Where partnering up with corporations and partnering with homeowner associations and things of that nature.
Okay.
And that component makes us a little bit different, and we have opportunity to do it in a way in which it can grow exponentially, whereas a lot of the places that are doing it now, they have a niche that they cater to, and that's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And it's kind of still run much like, every time I travel, I go to other cities, but it's still run like a traditional mom and pop barbershop where one barber may be the sole person offering services, things like that. Whereas we have a different model with employees and so forth.
Got it. Okay.
So.
Explain that model a little bit.
As far as the mobile aspect in our employees or the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So traditionally, I think a lot of times with the mom and pop barbershops, you kind of have your standard, the main barber may be the one who owns the barbershop,
sure.
and they're cutting. But with our mobile, we actually have access to various employees that we have hired on.
Okay.
And it's really kind of a unique situation where when we go to places, someone's not just coming to see me necessarily.
Sure.
So then it kind of gives that option. Now we do have great barbers to where people will want to have the same person continuously, but it's almost it's more diversified in the sense of you can go anywhere rather than this one person has to be here at this time for this to work. And
and the biggest thing for our model is like we want to sell the convenience of it, right? So to her point, with our business model of having a lot of people with a lot of different skill sets. So for example, like we said, like Danielle was speaking about earlier, a lot of times, and what I found in my own experience is, try to go to a sports clip, but they can't handle my hair type. Right. They don't have the skill set to handle my hair type. So we have a lot more flexibility by having a diverse workforce on here. Some people may have experience with natural hair care. Some people may have experience with twisting hair and then cutting it afterwards. We've been able to offer a lot more services that some places just don't have the capability of doing. And that allows us to be able to service anybody within the greater Omaha area.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other element of our business model too is the fact that if we're building a platform off of convenience, to this point, then you have to cover all facets of who or what is going to be necessary or what needs to be done. So whether it comes across ethnicity, whether it's a situation of culture, or whether it be industry or where we're needed. So, a corporate model or a place of leisure, or right now it's wedding season. It's being able to accommodate all those different things. And so by us being mobile, we have the adaptability to do and be wherever we need to be.
You can really combine. I mean, it's convenience, but it's quality too.
Correct.
Exactly.
It's the perfect. It sounds like the perfect mix of both.
And an experience. Like one of our biggest clients is Champions Run Golf Course.
Okay.
And so people love it. Spring season, we sit there on the 18th hole.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And you have to drop the back of the trailer. You have that breeze coming through. It's a tad bit different than being in a barbershop.
Experience.
So we try to make a marriage of all of those benefits.
Got it. How did that come to be and I guess talk about some of the different locations that you set up shop at. You say weddings, golf courses, you're really thinking outside the box. Like,
definitely.
I would have never thought of that. So just kind of talk about some of the places where you set up.
No, that's excellent. That's actually one of our favorite locations, like you said. We actually, our biggest customer is Boys Town.
One of my favorites.
Yep, one of our favorite. Where we actually provide services for the family homes that stay on the campus there. So
that's awesome.
I believe it's like over 200 children or something like that, and it's just been a great experience, to be able to go up there regularly, interact with the kids, interact with the families, and be a part of, them trying to build the children up. Because, a lot of what we've learned from them is, some of those kids are thinking about once they're done there, what am I going to do with my life? And some of them have expressed like, hey, this is something that I'm interested in. So just to be able to have an impact like that, that's one of my favorite spots. We've partnered with neighborhoods in Elkhorn.
Okay.
Builder Trend.
We have an event coming up with Builder Trend here in April. Local Omaha company, software company, obviously. Not sure if you're familiar, but
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, they've done quite a few things.
And even how we launched initially with North End Teleservices. We actually had a different business model.
Because that was right before the pandemic. It sure
was. So North End Teleservices was somewhere that was actually
March
where
of 2020.
we launched.
Shout out to Carmen Tapio. She's been excellent, advising us and everything.
Very cool.
But no, like I said, and then
most of the accounts though.
Wine, beer, and spirits too.
Oh yeah, wine,
that's one of our spots.
Oakview,
one of the newer shops where we posted up on there, and I think we've actually done a few like bachelor parties there, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
But the way a lot of these accounts have come about is it's indicative of the background that we've had in hair. Like a lot of people, or even us growing up in it, like me and Nelson being in the shop all day on the weekend with my grandfather and stuff.
Oh, yes.
It didn't register until later some of the things you walk away with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as how you should greet someone, the way you speak to people, the way you make people feel welcome, and you get a lot of those skill set. You got a lot of that skill set from that environment. I don't think I really took it. I saw it that way until I became older.
Yeah, it was very normal. So,
but the way we came across a lot of these accounts was relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's because of some of those little details of service.
Yep.
And
taking that experience and just bringing it here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said,
and that's how we've been able to navigate a lot of it is because the way you make people feel, the way you treat people, the way you openly should give care to people.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
People don't focus on the hair care.
Right.
It's hair, but there's a certain level of care outside of just the profession.
Aesthetics,
Yeah.
it all. The golden rule has been ingrained in us.
That was one of the first things I noticed when I moved away is, things as simple as I walk into a place, don't know a single soul, and nobody says anything to me. Who do I go to? Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Excellent. They were excellent skill wise, but it's like, showing up late all the time not following direction.
No respect of time.
No respect of time. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and to Donald's point, like I was amazed by, just the standards that I didn't realize because we had seen it firsthand from our grandfather, running his barbershop.
You didn't know any different.
No.
Right.
That's
That's true.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot more now.
Definitely.
Yes.
No, I always give him credit because to me he's kind of the pioneer. Him and his brother are the pioneers for our family when it comes to the foundation that they've laid and the legacy that they've laid for the rest of us in the family, for the good ones.
Yes.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
You mentioned it just briefly, but we're about 2 years out now. End of March 2022. Talk about as you were getting ramped up, ready to go, and then March of 2020 hits. What was that like for you guys?
Nerve-wracking.
You can laugh about it now.
It was literally 2 days of operation, and then they shut down barbershop.
Yeah, I know. For me, I was freaking out because at that time I was, handling all the finances and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god. It was very stressful overall. However, so I would say March, like leading into it, stressful. Things shut down. And I was just doing my due diligence. Finding any kind of way for us to kind of stay afloat.
Sure.
Through the time, so we weathered the storm through that. Mm-hmm. I would say I felt comfortable after things opened back up because.
How long were you shut down? Not to interrupt.
No, you're fine. March to June.
We didn't
because we reopened
until Father's Day weekend.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I believe we actually opened up a little bit later after
We
they
did.
okayed everything because we wanted to make sure that we crossed all of our.
We did. And the business model changed.
Right. Business model changed. Crossed our T's, dot our I's when it comes to sanitation and everything because that was a big deal at the time.
Right.
So we had to alter our operations just a little bit. But June we got started back up, and honestly, to me, that's where I noticed the pandemic probably worked a bit in our favor because people were more open to, I don't want to go into a barbershop, sit with other people and wait. You guys can come to me. I'll get in, get out. I can do my waiting at my house.
Yeah.
Literally.
Because you've got, for those that can't see, but so we're in the mobile.
Yes.
You've got you can open the back door there.
Exactly.
You've got the side door here that you can open. Fresh air coming in.
28-foot trailer.
Yeah.
Enter one way,
Room.
exit another.
Exit another. Yep. It was perfect. Wheelchair accessible, so anybody and everybody can get on.
Would you schedule one at a time when you first opened back up, or would you have
We had enough space for.
We had enough distance between the
Standards.
chairs, yeah. So we would schedule multiples. We would just, set chairs outside if people needed to wait. Because sometimes you might have children or something.
Sure.
That parents are with them.
But being in neighborhoods and being
People
with
right at home.
families,
Yeah.
a lot of times it would be a
Play in the
situation
park.
where you have a family inside, one in that chair, one in this chair.
Exactly.
So it kind of naturally allowed us to adjust to the situation.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
So there was some spacing of scheduling, but we were fairly able to take care of, of multiple customers at a time.
Sure.
But like I said, that when we opened back up, I felt a lot better about our situation because, like I said, I feel like people were more open to the concept of,
Yeah.
hey, mobile, you're coming to me.
Didn't have to sell it.
Exactly. It made it so much
It was
easier.
different. You know, but you
I
didn't
have
have
a
to sell
unique,
it.
I have a unique perspective of that time.
Yeah.
So by being in this trade for, like I said, 20 years now, COVID hitting was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
So by having that time off, little things you start to notice, like I physically started to feel better because I'm not standing. And going from being nervous and worried about the business, I started to physically feel better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is great, actually. And then, like Nelson said, you start realizing the advantages we had because of COVID. People not wanting to be in confined spaces.
Sure.
People being more selective of where they go because then there's a higher premium on professionalism.
Yep.
How does this place keep their equipment sterile or all those little things
Their space clean.
So you're going to be judged a bit harshly on that.
Yeah.
So all those things started to work in our favor, and I'm like, oh, we're good. But then the funny part is going back to work and being excited for the mobile situation. I'm like, let's do it. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm like, this is easy.
Yeah.
Then I put a mask on. And I'm like, okay.
That's an adjustment.
All right. And then the first person comes in. Things have been shut down. And we're booked approximately every 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I can't breathe that well. But this is easy.
And their hair is
But
growing
then
out
you're like,
5
oh,
inches.
this isn't just a haircut.
Yeah.
This is 3-4 months of hair that has been cut.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, the whole day just took a toll on you because just little
The
details, you
adjustments.
forget the adjustment.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hair, I'll tell
So
you.
there was
that.
a lot of hair. There was a lot of fixing problems because moms and dads were just
Trying to cut
pushing.
themselves,
Yeah.
And so
Just a bang.
I feel like I worked to an inch of my life trying to fix haircuts and trying to breathe at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's all my mind goes to during that time.
Operations perspective, I tell you.
Well, I think that's a good. It encapsulate as a small business owner, like you are so excited to finally get going,
It's so true.
but you work yourself to the bone some days.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that mix of I love what I do,
Yeah.
but I don't like not being able to breathe, or I don't like working myself to the bone all the time.
And no
Or
matter
if someone's out. Oh, go ahead.
and no matter how prepared you are,
There's
life and business will throw different things at you, or there's always something that you didn't consider.
Right.
Yep.
And so just being able to make those adjustments.
Especially during COVID where, hey, I was exposed. So now,
Yeah.
guess what? We have to cover
Yep.
that shit.
Somebody's out. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a part of, it's, people love the idea of being a small business owner, but then we don't always consider the side of when something needs to be fixed or done
It's on
or someone can't make it, guess what? It's on you to
It's on you.
Right.
go ahead and improvise and make sure the excellence factor is still maintained.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of early mornings, late nights, cold weather, and especially with towing, there's a whole other aspect of
Sure.
Yeah.
literally being in snow and you have to put the trailer back onto the truck to tow.
Right.
And It's a lot.
We learned a
to
lot
consider.
from that perspective, for sure.
I can't wait to have my own personal RV. I'm like, I got this. I know exactly what to do. I'm changing the oil. Oh yes.
That's awesome.
So, but that component of just you don't have someone to always call, so you better figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thankfully, I have them to call.
Right.
Which is my probably favorite component is we grew up very close.
Yep.
The three of us, we have other siblings, but the three of us are closer in age, and just me being the youngest and having older brothers, I love working with them because I understand them. They get me. They get my jokes.
Yeah.
I don't have to over explain, and that piece for me is just I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so it makes it all worth it.
Has the family dynamic been, for the most part, a blessing for you guys?
I believe so. Yeah.
It has been both. It's been both ways.
It's hard though.
It is very hard
because we know each other.
We know each other so well.
You're less likely to be nice.
Right. Yeah.
But politically correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do feel like the familiarity has kind of helped us out in a lot of different aspects to, like I said, for one, surviving a pandemic, and for us making it as long as we have.
Yeah.
We've done a fairly good job, working together to, make things work. And then, two, kind of all of us handling our piece. So, he talks about how he handles, the haircutting and, the relationships of, the people that come on. Danielle's done an excellent job of kind of, the logistics of, the trailer, where we need to be at, and providing that support, as well as she jumps on and does hair as well, right? Yeah. And, for me, I'm, handling the background, the dirty work as far as, things with finances, certain customer relationships or vendor relationships.
Yep.
Just kind of, and like I said, we've all taken our piece. And, we've done pretty well. And, we meet every Sunday where we go over things of what's happening and schedule things out. And, we hold each other accountable. Like I said, I enjoy working with my family, but at the same time, we still, know what we need to do professionally to
sure.
keep this
And of course, the arguments are a bit different.
They are different.
Yeah.
That's what I said. They are a little bit different.
It's not as structured.
Right.
The good thing
Not
is,
as kind.
since we're a family, we come back a lot easier than,
Even
in my experience.
we do. It's kind of like, okay, it doesn't hold, and issues don't remain for very long whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, all right, I'll go back to talking to you.
But it was your dad and your dad and his brother that had a grandfather. Okay. So you kind of already knew the family dynamic and how that could be.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because I look at these two, and my grandfather and his brother kind of operate the same way. And someone was telling me how my grandpa, he actually just stopped cutting. He turned 90. He stopped cutting during because of the pandemic.
Okay.
So he was barbering.
Not by his own choice either.
No, if it was up to him, he would have. No. But it's interesting to watch how one is in operations and still they come together with the mastermind. But then my great uncle, was the one who kind of, and so someone told me he was the mastermind, which I'll kind of equate. But they're both, once you get them together and watching the wheels turn, it's kind of amazing, which I think of, one of your questions was, what would you have done maybe differently? Mm-hmm. I've heard the conversation maybe since 2017, 16, and I'm like, I've always had the interest, but just kind of listened, and then I jumped on board once they did the dirty And so I think in hindsight, though, I would have wanted to be more a part of the beginning stages.
Sure.
But that we've been around it because of our grandfather, and he got us every Monday after school, so we were in the barbershops. I mean, we literally watched a lot of the conversations and the operations and how things moved in a very personal way, thankfully.
Did you lean on them for advice when you were starting this?
So my grandfather, not as much, more so we just kind of kept him abreast of what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's a
what
lot
did he
older.
think?
He loved it. When we first operated, he came out and got his hair cut, and he was just in awe, him and our grandmother. So, I mean, like I said, he loved it. That's awesome. Where we have a lot of our advice came from our uncle, actually.
Uncle Dave.
David Newsom, he's opened multiple shops all over the greater Omaha area, and he's been in the hair care industry for decades.
Okay.
A bivvy experience. He's, sat on the salon boards and stuff like that.
Okay.
Excuse me, cosmetology board. So for him, he was an integral piece that we used a lot to pick his brain a little bit. Still not done. I got more meetings up with him as we get ready to open our brick and mortar shop as well.
Sure.
But again, like with our family legacy, I felt like we really have endless opportunity to get advice from our family anyhow when it comes to all the things that we need to do.
Sure. Sure. Okay, I want to go back because I want to ask this question. So when you were shut down from March to June, what did you do either from a marketing standpoint or brainstorming? You said the business model changed a little bit during that time. What did you do during that time with the business?
So at that time we had a couple. So we had a grand opening plan. We're members of the Chamber of Commerce, right? So we were planning out, hey, let's do this ribbon cutting, which was a little bit different, where we were going to partner with the organization.
Okay.
But everything shut down, right?
Sure.
And so not only that shut down, we were in conversations with a lot of different companies to actually provide services for them. So with that kind of not being an option, that's where we really turned our focus to neighborhood associations and reaching out to them. And going to where people are at, because for one, people weren't working in offices anymore. Because the idea initially was for us to kind of, hey, let's get people while they're at work, convenience while they're at work, lunch, or maybe this is a benefit that different organizations could offer to their employees and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like I said, with COVID kind of adjusting that's where it was like, okay, let's market to a different way to a different set of folks, and that's where we came up with ideas of down speaking with people at the golf course and getting that set up, and where people are trying to get out to. A lot of people are playing golf, right? I can't do much. I'm at home. Let me go on the golf course, be outside.
Was the reception pretty open?
Oh yeah, it was well.
Yeah,
we were
well received.
And the biggest thing is that when people deal with hardships and you deal with a problem like a pandemic or financial crisis or whatever the crisis is, people often they don't really do an inventory check of their resources. Yeah. And so sometimes the way we perceive resources, certain things we just don't take into account. During that time, I personally made a choice to we came back late because we decided we don't have the connection with people or the credibility to just start and just jump right in.
Sure.
So we decided to shore things up, but I also felt like using existing relationships. Yep. The credibility that I already built up, being in the different shops that I've run and been at, it was tapping into those things that we use to try to really get things rolling. So almost every place we were at, started to realize we had existing relationships. Right. So it was like, okay, well, we went into almost every place welcome. Because of an existing relationship.
Sorry about that.
And then the videos
in the interim, social media.
We utilize social media and giving people hair care, self-care tips to deal with things on their own.
Right. Yeah. While we were shut down, we actually put out tips, videos hey, what can you do without having access to a barber to maintain your hair and different things of the sorts like that. So those were the adjustments that we made while we were shut down. But again, like I said, we really changed our focus on who we were reaching out to, utilizing social media. The neighborhood app was really good for us too. We were hitting different neighborhoods.
Next door is that?
Next door. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, that's next door. Yep. When it came to putting the word out, hey, and everybody was excited about it. Oh wow. you know, and so
Our hashtag groom is coming.
Yeah.
Groom.
Nice.
Building the anticipation.
And even since then, no, you're great. Even since then, though, I feel like the relationships that we built in some of these neighborhoods, they love. They're looking for us now. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, when are you guys coming out next? We get that
Yes.
all the time through social media, through messages, and like, hey, it's about time to come out.
Right.
And we're like, hey, we'll be out. We're scheduled for such and such. You know,
That's
so
awesome.
it's been like I said, it's been that time was crucial to kind of, like I said, shift our marketing efforts and our focus to reaching that audience.
Probably learned a ton during that time. Too.
Oh, a lot.
I mean, from the marketing, who handles the social media?
He handles social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I love your guys' Instagram page. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, this gentleman right here. Yeah.
What do you wish you were better at when it comes to running your business?
Man, that's a loaded question.
Man.
Can we just say one? More than one, right?
However many. And it's like your guys' situation is unique because you've got, you've got more than one person that is taking care of the hair. You're taking care of the finances and logistics and things like that, which I think is a huge advantage because as a business owner, if you're trying to do it all on your own, you're trying to do your trade, you're trying to do all the dirty work that's not any fun.
Yeah.
People don't want to open the books and look at the finances, things like that. So that's kind of where this question comes from. Is there's so much you have to do,
Right.
but something falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so maybe you guys have a kind of a unique blend of where everybody has their own job. It sounds like, but there's probably still ways where you can improve.
For me, it's anytime you're dealing with multitasking, it's the details.
Yeah.
I honestly think we cover ourselves everywhere, but it's always those little details, and I think that I zero in on that as a hair care professional. Mm-hmm. The difference between good and great in anything is the details.
Yeah.
What's that saying? Master none or.
Oh yes.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, master.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah. For me personally, I think with this, there's so many unique ideas that we come up with and different opportunities, even just program pieces that we want to implement. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't get to them. And that's partially for me where I'm like, I don't like that sometimes it takes longer, that we have this new idea and it's like, hey, this will work really well. Mm-hmm. And then you just kind of keep operating in the safe zone instead of branching out into this new idea that will work.
Sure. And
you have the relationships and the accounts to test it out on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you still kind of hold it in your pocket and in your drive with the PowerPoint that's together instead of introducing it and just testing it out, because it's unfamiliar.
No, I agree with her on that one. And for me, mine would be more so a mentality change, because all of us, we are all juggling regular 9-to-5s as well as trying to run a business. And so when she talks about how we have our ideas and may take a little bit longer to get up off the ground, that's where I wish I wish I had more drive to actually just take that leap. Leap, and just be like, look, let's just go and do this full time, which we'll get there, but I'm very methodical on how I like to go about things. One thing that I would say that, and I'm probably focusing on this now because this is like we're deep and heavy into it right now. I wish we were a little bit further when it comes to recruiting talent. Because now we're in this phase of where we're trying to grow, having the brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. We also want to go and do connect with more neighborhoods and stuff like that. So we need to make sure we have the talent. And everybody really right now, post pandemic, if you want to say post pandemic, is kind of dealing with the same thing of shortage of workers, having people available. And we find it's no different for us as well. So we've taken steps where we're working with Zanon. We're reaching out to professionals and stuff like that for part-time work and kind of working, getting familiar with them. But I just feel like we could have been a lot further with the connections, especially with where we want to take this, because we really think it's going to be not just beneficial for our customers, but we think what we have planned is going to provide a lot of opportunities for professionals within the hair care space.
Absolutely.
In general. For so many years, it might be considered, unless you own a shop or have a massive clientele that you built out, it's not considered a very lucrative profession.
Yes.
And we believe, by us connecting with neighborhoods, and like I said, with some of our future plans of being able to get new customers, we believe we can grow to a point and provide a clientele and provide high, well-paying jobs when it comes to the hair care industry.
I guess that's what I see is you're providing something, especially where you're working with Zanon.
Yep.
This is an alternative to going into a salon or going into a barber shop.
Yes.
I mean, someone can have, if they've got a regular 9-to-5 job, they can come work on their craft with you guys in the evenings or on the weekends or whatever.
Yep.
But it's a great alternative.
No, and Danielle can speak to this better than all of us. A lot of new grads, they come out and their first thing is that they have to build a clientele. So you can work at a spot, but if you don't have people comfortable to come to you or anything like that, guess what? You're wasting 9 to 5 a lot of times just probably helping washing hair and not making a lot of money.
Sure. That's true. Yeah.
So for us, we look at it. You hit it right on the button. For us, we see ourselves as a good linchpin for people to start out, because, like I said, we have a clientele for people to perfect their craft, and that's the other thing. They can hone their skills. When it comes to the hair care industry, it can be brutal if you do a bad job. And Yelp is unforgiving when it comes to stuff like that. But with us and some of the accounts that we have, they have the opportunity to be able to craft their style. They get guidance from the people that we have working with us that have so much experience, and then, like I said, they're freely able to improve on their skill and grow that clientele as they move on in their career.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap this up. I know you need to get going. I don't want to make you late.
You're fine.
I got 2 questions though. You touched on it a little bit. What you would maybe do different if you could go back.
Oh, okay.
And you can add to this if you want to. But if you could go back 2 years ago. Other than maybe waiting, maybe you wouldn't even wait. I don't know. Would you give yourself any advice, anything that you would do different, or would you just let things play out as they have?
Good question. I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20, right? There are a few things that I definitely would do different. For me, it probably goes into what we've learned with. So we custom built this trailer ourselves. Predator Trailers, shout out to Papillion, Nebraska. Excellent guys to work with. They really have a good operation there.
They built it out for you?
Yeah, we designed it along with them. Sat down with Mark. Sat down with Mark. Picked out materials, kind of what we wanted. Spacing and different things of the sorts like that. I feel like we learned a lot in that process, and when it comes to building the next models and the things that we'll have moving forward, I think we can build much more efficient mobile shops. Kind of what we're envisioning in the future. We want to be able to pull up into people's driveways, right? This is an 8 by 28 foot trailer.
Sure.
Not getting into too many people's driveways with this. We literally wanted to get to that aspect. Another thing,
a 1-chair mobile shop type?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the next thing, and this is something that we're working on now, and I probably would have started there too. So we've used a lot of different vendors when it comes to scheduling payments and stuff like that.
Sure.
I would have invested in developing our own application, because there's a lot out there and there's some good ones, but nothing is really built for being mobile. And so with that being the case, I really think we have an opportunity to make a big splash there. And like I said, that's the next phase that we're working on now to get us to the next level.
Got it.
For my ideology, one of my partners, his name is Marcel Cox. He owns a shop called Modern Image.
Marcel.
And, one thing me and him talk about often that I believe in is It's rare that I ever feel like I wish I can go back and change something, because I'm a firm believer, like, some of your L's aren't losses.
Right.
A loss is a lesson. So oftentimes for things to grasp something, it's different to
You
burn.
gotta feel that pain.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much growth from pain. Like, it's different to be told not to touch the stove.
Right.
To actually touch it. You'll remember not to touch the stove.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where the hardships and navigating the mistakes and things of that nature, it sucks in the moment.
Yep.
But it just teaches you another lesson, and it gives you another perspective. So my mindset is looking at where we're at from our inception. I'm looking at it and I'm just trying to navigate it going forward. But the information that we've collected thus far, to me, is just as valuable than to be able to go back and go, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know, because too often times people will dwell on what's happened to them versus how you're going to handle what you have. So I have a hard time really sitting dwelling on it. I should have went left when I went right. You know?
Yeah.
Well, even like the pandemic, like even if you could go back and tell yourself, here's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known, like if you would have known about it, you probably would have been more nervous or scared, where in the moment you were just like, okay, here's what we're going to have.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So we put our heads down and did what we had to do.
But to your point, though, I think what we have to do is do what you can do, though.
Sure.
So from my personal experience, personally, I would have been more prepared had I did some of my taken steps personally in this industry. I've always had an interest. I've always done natural hair, which is legal in the state of Nebraska on how we have it done. But there were certain leaps that I didn't take prior to that would have put me in a better position to support the business that we're doing now. And so I think even whether it's personal or business aspect, you have to do the things that you can do and focus on that, you know. And I think, you know, there's always going to be situations that arise that you can you never expected and prepare for. But the main key, I think, a lot of times is we kind of fiddle our thumbs waiting until it's like, oh, okay, I got to do it now. And then it's like, well, guess what? You could be a few steps ahead had you done what you could do today.
Firm believer that luck happens to people that put themselves in position to receive that luck.
Exactly.
Because some of owning a business, some of it is luck.
That is right place, right time. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That positioning piece is what I personally position yourself.
Very cool.
In the ways you can.
Absolutely. 2 more questions. Second to last question. Someone comes to you, they want to start a business, whether it's they're doing hair or any type of business. What advice are you going to give them? One piece of advice from each of you.
For me, I would say know what you're up against before you go in. Like, do as much research and know what you bring to the table. And I wouldn't lie to other people either, but don't lie to yourself.
Be realistic.
Address your shortcomings. Know what you bring to the table, and find out if what you're wanting to offer is one, and to find out if do your due diligence and find out if what you're pursuing is something that is viable to So a friend of mine, he tells me all the time. He said, "I don't expect what I don't inspect." So,
well put.
For me, I would just say patience is key. There's going to be ups and downs, and a lot of downs at the beginning that are really tough.
In the red.
Yeah, in the red, right? That are really, really going to be tough, but you got to have that patience to weather the storm. It's important to know your why, because that sometimes is what keeps you going when you're going through a lot of downtime. So that's what I would tell anybody.
Read that book.
Yes, I did.
I read it to him.
No, that's something I would tell anybody starting a business or for anything. It's that's key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I kind of would piggyback to simplify it. I would say do it now,
Yeah.
and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that just kind of goes with what they've said. Do your research, be realistic, and follow through. Like, it's not for the faint of heart whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So follow through and make sure you do it well. With that excellence factor is key.
Yeah.
Because it's what will differentiate you from everyone else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and you said it before. There's a lot of things that people don't see that aren't fun, but it is important to know to love what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because even though you're doing what you love, there's still going to be days that really suck.
That's true.
And you have to love it when you close the door.
That's true.
Or lock things up at night to have the energy to go back and do it the next day.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, last question. I just kind of want to know future-wise. So brick and mortar is going to be going up.
Correct.
Or you're building that out right now, but you're not abandoning the mobile. Like mobile is still part of the future for you guys.
Mobile will still be there. Like I said, when it comes to our expansion plans, it's heavily involved around mobile because that's where we feel like the future is.
Yes.
When we talk about learning from experiences, and I think the pandemic provided a lot of learning opportunities. And I explained to you how in the profession it's been done the same way for so long.
Yeah.
I think there is a massive opportunity for that to be done differently, and the pandemic proved that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So no, you're fine. So the mobile piece is where we will have our biggest growth, I believe, and that's what we're working towards too. So more to come out. We'll be back on and let you know. So
Yeah,
we kind of have that covered up.
Absolutely.
But I will say we want to start that here in Omaha, Nebraska. We're born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, so we're doing everything we can to build it out here first. And so we'll be working with our elected officials. We'll be working with the barber board, the cosmetology board, with some of the plans to bring hair care to the future here in Omaha, Nebraska first.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of Nelson, the biggest thing we're seeing is the tradition of barbering. It's, to me, I look at family and legacy the same way. Like, it's essential to keep those pieces that were given to you, but it's also, to me, necessary to add elements to it, so that when you pass it on, there's something that you added to it. And for us, looking at how we perceive how stagnant the industry as a whole has been, and seeing the opportunity that we can bring to the table what was given to us, and put it out there on a massive scale. And I have to say, I am utterly confident in our ability to see it through, because it's a industry, and it's these fundamental principles that we've been given, and I just don't see it a lot out there in the industry. So I very much expect for us to succeed in where we're trying to go. How big, I could never pretend to know that, but I definitely think the impact will be there, just based on knowing what the foundation of why we're doing.
Yeah. Well, it seems like, you're off to a great start.
Thank you.
And doing something that's different isn't always easy, but can be very rewarding if it's done right. I think you guys are on the right track. So,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Real quick, how can people find out about you guys, where you're going to be, website, social media, where can we find you?
Sure thing. So we have our website where we keep our calendar of where we're going. We always update it a month in advance.
Okay.
www.myggroommobile.com.
Okay.
And then the Instagram tag
The Instagram tag is Groom Mobile.
Groom Mobile.
Groom Mobile.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
Groom.
Yeah, there's also a link on our website too to get to the Instagram page. We also are on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. We'll be getting more active on LinkedIn. We haven't been as active as we should be, but like I said, there's a lot of opportunities out there. Also, we're actively recruiting, so
Sure.
we post different positions on Facebook and everything as well. So,
And is there a way where they can get a hold of one of you if someone is interested? Can they text, call? Is it just reaching out online?
Yep, reach out online. All of our information is on the website. It has our phone number, email addresses as well. So,
Okay.
Yep.
So whether you want a haircut or you want us to come to your corporation, or if you just want to give us a ton of money,
You'll take all that money too. Guys, I can't thank you enough. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. Like the energy that you three have, and just the family dynamic. Like I can tell that you guys, it seems like you work really well together.
Thank you.
And have a lot of fun. So I wish you nothing but the best. Good luck on the brick and mortar and everything that you guys have coming.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you coming out.
Appreciate it.